Hello, everyone. This is Rick with the Cyber Pro podcast. Excited for my guest today. We are going to do 5 questions in 9 minutes because hackers never sleep. Jack, who are you and what do you do?
My name's Jack Rhysider. I'm the creator and host of the podcast Darknet Diaries. Before that, I was a network security engineer for 10 years.
What made you want to go into podcasting, especially on the cyber world?
I mean, I've always had this kind of entrepreneurial itch that I wanted to make something online. And, I've tried different things, got like 90% of the way done with a lot of projects and never finished. But yeah, I mean, I really loved podcasts and I was fascinated with shows like This American Life and Radiolab and stuff like that, and it was like, where are the shows like that but for cybersecurity? There are some high drama situations that people get stuck into that could easily be like a really captivating show, and nobody was making it, so I decided to make it myself.
That's awesome. And I've watched a couple. They're super cool. Listened to a couple and super appreciative of you helping the community out. Why do you love being a cyber expert?
I don't know if I'm an expert, but I'll tell you why I like cybersecurity. And that's because it feels like it pulls everything that I've ever studied about IT all together in one. I went to college and I learned, you know, three different programming languages, and I learned about operating systems, and I learned about how computers store an image and what does a sound file look like and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, well, that's in my head, but I don't know where I need that, all this stuff, right? And then when I got a security job, suddenly all that stuff became relevant. It was, we're manipulating these images, we're manipulating these operating systems, we're, writing code to be malicious and stuff like that. So all of a sudden, everything was just like, oh wow, I've been studying my whole life for this. So it really feels to me like the I don't know, the kingpin of all IT is security, because you really need to know a ton of stuff to be good at it, and you can't really be like niche in it.
That's a fair assessment. I'd love to get. I'm super excited to hear your opinion on this. Cybersecurity is a top concern. What does that mean to you?
Um, I mean, I suppose it's interesting, right? So, I mean, let's say Google, for example, says that security is our top priority. Well, eh, that's that's okay. Okay, so there are people trying to get into Gmail accounts, and these could be foreign nations trying to hack into certain dissidents or activists' Gmail accounts, and so they're really trying hard to keep these attackers out, or they're just thieves trying to get into your account so that they can reset your Coinbase wallet, address, and get into that or something. So they've got this security as kind of their top priority, and they're good at it because they've been fielding these kind of attacks this whole time, and they're practiced, and they just have lots of equipment and robust and the team and everything, so they're great. But at the same time, they're collecting all kinds of data on us, and they're storing that and sometimes selling that to advertisers and stuff like that. And so I don't if security is your top priority, you wouldn't be collecting any data off me, because that's a liability now, and you've just increased this liability that you've got to now deal with. If it's really a concern of yours, you would encrypt my data at rest, and not even know what my password is, and have no recovery method, and all these kind of things. So it really is quite the quite the thing to say if you're going to say it, because you could go really far into it and still not be covering all the bases. I don't know, it's a real hard problem to solve, because you really have to take your next step and say, well, what really is the priority? For instance, when I go to buy a new phone, security is a top priority, but I end up getting one of these phones that collects all my data and shares my location with other companies and stuff like this. And I guess my top priority really is usability and having the features I like and the apps I like, because that's why I get these phones, right? And so if I get one that doesn't have all that, and I have security as a top priority, now I have a lot less opportunity, or options to do things on the phone. So yeah, it's quite a thing to say. I don't know if people really understand what they're saying when they say it.
I, I love the answer. I think that's amazing. Jack, what insight do you want to share with our network of cyber professionals?
I think that um, what really helped me was blogging for a long time. You have a lot of problems that you're facing all the time, and you're figuring out how to solve them. And sometimes you're having to Google the same question like 6 times. Like you can't seem to remember it. Those are good things to blog. Or sometimes you're googling stuff and you can't find the answer, and so now you have to contact support or get someone else to help you. And those are good things to blog. And I just think that if I had a lessons learned notebook from the beginning when I started getting into IT of like, oh, here's some Linux commands that I find very helpful, and here's what happens if I have to ever troubleshoot this, and here's what I do to set this up, and just kind of just blogging from the beginning, I would be a lot more further in my career, and I really feel like blogging has done a lot of good for me. To blog all your whole journey, everything that you're you're learning and getting stuck on and everything. It doesn't have to be insightful or something new that nobody's ever written. It just needs to be your own personal notes, but scrubbed so there's no private information there that you can reference later, and it'll be your top reference place. If it helps you, it'll help others.
No, that's great. Great insight, great feedback. Jack, what's your favorite piece of retro technology that makes you smile?
Ooh, I like I think I like cameras, just old cameras, film cameras and stuff like that. Those are always cool to me. And especially like those flashes that used to like, you'd only get 10 flashes per cartridge or something like that. It was really wild. Like these yeah, these old mechanical things are fun.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You did it. You made it to the end. Check us out for more content.